Sorry, I'm finishing up this
Oh, you're fine.
Can I ask you what this is? I'm really curious.
It's check it out.
Yeah.
It's just a deck of cards with like a million recipes on it.
Oh.
Each one has its own unique recipe.
Papa's barbecue shrimp.
Do you guys frequent New Orleans at all?
Yeah, we've been a few times.
Mm-hmm. My brother's girlfriend runs the Preservation Jazz Hall.
That's
And
my daughter's played there.
That's awesome.
She's a violin
Right?
player, so she's
That's
played
amazing, right?
There. Oh, she's. Well, I've never been. I know that when
You guys gotta
the band's
go.
played here. I know when like
Okay.
ACL or
Yeah,
maybe even Fun Fest back in the day. I don't remember.
sure.
But
That
I've heard great
Preservation
things.
Hall is amazing.
Yeah.
It's just this untouched, room. Like you can, the echo, the reverb.
Yes.
You can tell there's like history to it.
Can you put an echo on our voices?
I could do all kinds
little
of weird
reverb.
shit.
Little
After
make
the
it sound nice.
Oh yeah, yeah. We'll go. Yeah, well, the reverb's not necessarily nice for like like a conversation.
Right.
I have heard that done on a podcast, and I was like, wow, man, fail. But Brandon, Zane,
Oh, we're doing this.
Is this live?
we're
Is it on YouTube? Are we YouTubing this?
these are going directly to you.
This is a live stream.
You know anybody over at YouTube? Can you give me a discount? How's that work?
You get to it. I know a couple guys on YouTube or at the YouTubes. Actually, YouTube's everywhere, right? We don't have a YouTube in Austin, do we?
I was being sarcastic. I don't know.
But they're all they're in California. Like we have Googles and we have Facebooks here. I was curious. I'm wondering if there's.
It's an
gonna be
old
a
Andrew
YouTube.
Dice Clay reference. That's
Okay.
All right.
Gotcha.
Don't worry about it. He's like, I'm trying to get my career started again. You know anybody over at YouTube? Can you put a word in for me?
There we go.
Anyway.
But welcome you guys via 313. That's the talk of the town, if you ask me. So how's it going, guys?
That's great.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you have to come far to get here?
Ooh, I was coming from the east side, so it wasn't too bad though.
East
Traffic
side.
wasn't bad.
15 minutes. I was south.
Okay, you're south. Do you guys? Do you stay on the east side?
I live like in Bolden,
Okay.
Yep.
over by Bolden Creek Cafe.
So via 313 pizza place 290 by the Y. Right. We got the east side. We got Guadalupe
Yep.
and the trailer.
Rainy Street and West 6.
Okay. And the OG is where on the east side.
Well, it used to be over at 6th and Waller in front of the
So
Final
that's
Crown.
not there anymore.
That trailer moved over to behind Buford's on West 6th.
Okay.
But then we replaced the trailer. So the original trailer's gone.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So, but I'm sure you kind of stepped it up a little bit.
It's way nicer, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. So via 313, you guys are from Michigan, right? This is Detroit style pizza. Pizza. Right? So I'm from the Midwest, from Chicago, right? So I never had this Detroit style pizza.
I think before we go, what's your favorite
Yeah, I was
pizza
real
in
curious.
Chicago? Because this is more important than us.
Man, I say that I was in a suburb and we would just order like you won't know
Just
like
the neighborhood.
Jake's, yeah,
Yeah,
like Jake's
Jake's.
was the shit.
And do you prefer that? I mean, I always think of there's like 4 or 5 different styles that is
Like
really
thin
Chicago
crust or
style.
like-
yeah, thin Chicago is great, like
Yeah.
the round cut into squares or the
Definitely not deep
or
dish.
stuffed, which
Yeah.
like Giordano's and those type or Nancy's does that.
Not a deep dish. We've talked about this a little bit.
Lou Malnati's, which is another variation on Chicago
Pretty
style.
sweet, right? Kind of a sweeter pizza.
Just
Sauce can be sweet, yeah.
yeah.
So do you guys do your research before you decided to open via 313 here, like for like Chicago pizzas and New York, or did you just guys bring Detroit here?
Yeah, I mean, basically, we brought Detroit here. What it was is I moved down in 2009, so 10 years ago, a little over 10 years ago. And actually, I guess I should backtrack. The Brandon and I, we used to eat just copious amounts of pizza. We grew up in a house that ate a lot of pizza.
Yeah.
2, 3, 4 times a week, not out of the ordinary.
So the local pizza there, is it always this kind of like
No.
Okay.
It's a variety. I mean, I
like Chicago. Like
yeah,
everywhere.
it is.
Yeah.
Well, like any, I mean, I think really fortunate in that regard, right? Detroit has its own style, I guess you could say now, 10 years later. But we also have a lot of Italian bakeries, a lot of Italian restaurants, first, second generation Italian restaurants that make good pizza. So just hand-tossed pizzas.
Right.
I always say, New York style is not a thing. It's not something you'd see in Detroit. And maybe you might find a place or two now, but not really a thing. I think actually I'd never heard New York style pizza until I went to New York. I've never even heard of that.
Well, yeah, when I always thought Chicago versus New York, I always just thought it was the taste of the pizza, and I didn't realize it was like thin crust New York pizza versus this deep dish. And then I'm from Chicago. That's the debate, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but again, there's so many different flavors of that. Like,
Yeah, I
think
just
what
said
people
I'd give
think
it to
of
New
as
York in
New
that
York
case.
style pizza is essentially a kind of a inexpensive round pizza that's a little thinner, skimpy on ingredients. A couple bucks a slice on the street,
Right.
that type of thing. But New York has so much more to offer than that. It's just like Chicago does too, and so does Detroit. So they're all kind of the same in that regard. Just
Definitely.
lots of different options is the best way to describe it. Even Detroit, lots of options.
So 2009, you came here, but your whole life were you in Detroit?
Yeah, so Brandon and I are brothers. First of all,
Right, yeah.
all right, okay, and then second of all, well, some people don't know that.
Yeah.
So
The Hunt brothers.
the Hunt brothers, that's right.
Secret to the sauce is the Hunt's ketchup, right? No relation.
Yeah, we
Is it
decided
Heinz?
to try and make a little bit more money.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that
Cashing
ketchup's
in on-
not lucrative at all.
But so you guys grew up in Detroit. What was life like in Detroit? I mean, we got a little different climate here, obviously.
Well, I mean, we grew up. Mom raised us, single mom.
Okay.
For the most, they split
Yeah.
when I was 10 and he was 5. They got a divorce, right? So, mom raised us.
Props.
Lower,
Shout
yeah,
out to
no,
Mom.
definitely.
Single moms.
Yeah.
Yep. First few years, welfare type of thing, real poor.
Yeah.
Going to get powdered milk and government cheese and
Unmeltable cheese.
Yeah, we've lived that.
Now, were you guys among other folks who were going through that similar, or were you looking to other people who were like maybe better off?
I think we grew up in a what felt like a rich neighborhood. We just grew up in
So you guys-
housing.
It's lower middle class,
yeah.
really.
Maybe felt a little like outcasted a little bit in that scenario.
I never did.
No, I mean, when you grow up,
It just
at least
felt-
for us, that felt normal. Like this is what normal is, right?
Right, yeah.
That's probably how
Yeah.
it felt.
Life, family, right?
It's life, and
yeah.
in hindsight, it wasn't that bad. It was all right.
We never went without. It was just probably a little bit tougher than it should have been.
Yeah.
Did you guys get to keep up with Dad at all?
More now.
More
Yeah.
now, okay.
Yeah.
But he had split at the time.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was a party animal.
Oh yeah, have you guys
the whole
followed
family.
in his
The whole.
footsteps?
the-
Yeah,
mom
well,
and
mom
dad
was
both
too,
really,
but she
I
was
agree.
around.
Yeah, I mean,
Good. At least
Yeah.
she had her priorities straight, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they had us. Like, the reality is, they had us really young. I mean, they were both 18, 19, 20 years old.
Definitely young.
So you get your youth taken from you a little bit because you have kids. So you
Yeah,
circle back to it. I think that's what happened.
And you're the older brother, so like
Yeah.
by the time you're in like grade school or going into like middle school, he's going
Basically.
elementary. So were you always looking? Because I have a younger brother, and I know that he learned from me all the stuff not to do. Like he was like, "Well, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that."
No, I think he was a pretty good
influence?
kid. Yeah.
Okay. I was
it
the
wasn't
opposite.
it wasn't like a bomb went off. Oh, I can't say that in school, but but there wasn't like there was a trail of bad stuff that I followed. He was a pretty good student.
So
I was good, but I was, believe it or not, I was cognizant of I feel like he got a raw deal. So I had 5 years of my parents being together more than he did, and those 5 years make a big difference.
Yeah.
I think they do.
sure, yeah.
I was 10 years old. I can handle things better at 10 than he could at 5.
Yeah.
And even when I was younger, I knew that. But as a teenager, I messed around with. I wouldn't say I wasn't getting into trouble, but I didn't have my head on straight either.
Like most teenagers.
Yeah, and I shielded him from that part of me for the most part during those years
So a protective instinct.
because our grandparents were around, so he'd be over there a lot.
Okay.
So that's in a way was my shielding of that.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's good. You got to thank him for that a little bit, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't even know.
Yeah.
I don't even know half the shit. He's still hearing about it.
Sure, sure. So, what brought you? I mean, you grew up eating pizza, right? I mean, what?
I grew up eating really good pizza too. That's the thing.
Yeah, definitely different. Like when you come here, right, or in Texas, in
For
general.
sure. It was alarming. I remember him texting me going like, there's
no
nothing besides home slice, which again, back home would be,
Just right down the street,
it'd just be normal pizza.
Normal pizza.
People wouldn't be waiting 2 hours for it.
right? So I'm just curious. In Detroit, did you guys get your feet wet with pizza? Like, did you ever
Yeah.
work at a pizza joint or
Yeah,
together even?
My first 2 jobs were in pizza, both working for a small operation, delivery carryout type places.
Yeah.
And they both made really good pizza. They're both a little different, but they're both really good.
Like just local one-off spots.
Yeah, and honestly, if Chris wouldn't have passed away at Angie's, who was one of my mentors, he just passed away this past year. That business would still be up and running. And Bruno Capello runs Riverview Pizza Place. That's
Now,
still
these are the 2 joints. You're talking
yeah,
about.
and they make really good pizza, just good, honest pizza.
Okay.
And in those operations, I was asked to do everything. I mean, as a 16-year-old, I was hired to deliver, but really, they had me do everything. It was, it's this type of place like on a Friday or Saturday night. And that's what I did. I'd work every Friday, Saturday night. So Friday, Saturday nights, I was responsible for delivering, but when I wasn't delivering pizzas, I was doing everything else besides work the oven. I didn't work the oven. I don't know why that is, but Chris never let me work the oven.
You can't be trusted.
Yeah. He's very particular about the way pizzas came out. And I did, and I noticed that. As a 16-year-old, I was like, well, that left a strong impression on me, right?
Yeah.
So, but, I'd prep, cut cheese, shred cheese, make sauce, make dough. I was doing all that. And we talk a lot about, and we probably get into this, but how we are all we are the sums of all of our experiences, right? And at the time, we go through these things, and maybe we don't think that these things are making an impact on us. It's just a job. But as we get older, at least for us, we look back on all these jobs we had, and it's just like, well, that molded me into who I am.
Definitely.
It changed something in me.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And so even those jobs, as entry level as they were, it taught me a lot. So my first 2 gigs were in pizza.
Did you always stick around like the pizza or culinary? Or?
No, I got away from it, from the working in the industry.
Yeah.
I did other things. I was in radio for a while. I was in on IT, which was really RFID. I was in that for a while. But I was still making pizzas at home. I still cared a lot. I was still eating a lot of pizza at local places, no matter where I lived.
Did you kind of get the bug for it? Did you know that was something you were going to end up doing?
No.
No, just like...
No, I just was into it. And
Brandon, did you end up at a pizza place ever?
I mean, I delivered flyers at the pizza place that he worked at when I was 12. That was my first gig. It was like $8 an hour under the table to just go door to door and put flyers in the door for the pizza place.
But they never threw you in the kitchen?
No, I was too young. And then
as Bruno had to check up on you too. That was important.
He didn't trust me. Bruno didn't. We were bad kids, so. But no, mostly bars and restaurants. Nothing particular. Cece's Pizza, which just taught us a lot about great pizza. But I worked at Cece's for 6 months and got fired.
Here?
This was in Detroit, but they shipped me to Dallas to train.
Were you in Dearborn? Is that the one?
Redford.
Oh, Redford.
Yeah. And then that was about it with pizza. I was more in bars for the majority of it.
Okay. All right. Yeah. And you guys have translated that as well pretty well, too, to the Via 313 scene.
Mm-hmm.
Brought some very good brews in there.
Kind of hard to be a business in Austin without it.
Yeah, but it's the jam. I'm a big fan, so I'll try not to gush and then think about going and eating and all that stuff.
We should have brought one.
I don't know how
we're
well
so
that would have went. I
ill-prepared.
would have been like, we'll just postpone this and eat. But so you got into like IT and stuff. Totally different paths right now. I mean, I guess business owner. I mean, that's had to pay off. Did you go to school?
I never. I graduated from a media arts college.
Media arts
in Southfield, Michigan, and I did radio for a couple of years. The pay was just horrible, and my wife and we just got married
in Detroit.
Yeah, we wanted to have kids. We knew we wanted to have kids when we were younger. We knew we wanted to have a house. Like that was really the goal. It's just, can we afford to have children and buy a house? That was it. I mean, we're not talking about anything extravagant. I mean, it was just an entry-level house, right? And I was making, if we talk money, I mean, I was making like $20,000 a year in radio.
Yeah, rough.
And the second biggest market in Michigan.
Yeah. And I was like, well, this isn't going to work.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's
how was that? I mean, when you're making that, and you're thinking about kids. You didn't have kids.
I want to be an adult, basically,
Right.
is what I was telling myself. Like, I want to act like an adult.
I mean, but that can be so stressful, just that money thing.
I don't, yeah, it was. I mean, thankfully, my wife was making more money than me,
Okay.
and it helped bridge that gap.
Yes.
But even then, it's tough.
Because the way we grew up, you don't know what this is, what the top is like when you're just used to that
Sure.
middle ground.
Yeah. So what prompted? I mean, I hope I'm not skipping over anything to when you guys came. What prompted Austin in 2009?
Well, my wife and I moved to Grand Rapids, Michigan in 1999, and I was working out on the west side of the state in radio. And the pay was poor, like I said.
And when you say radio, you're like a radio host of a show?
Yeah, I was a morning show producer.
Okay.
I would do updates on the air. I would go to college sporting events and interview the athletes and stuff, depending on the sports. Usually it was basketball because it's
Sounds
Hope
fun
College.
though, right?
Yeah, it was like a dream because growing up, and that's one of the things that we were both passionate about was sports.
Okay.
So we thought, well, I always thought like, well, here's a way I could transition into this. This could be my career. Maybe I'll end up on the radio being a play-by-play announcer or something. That was the goal.
Okay. But the pay's just
Well, at the lower levels, of course, it's
Yeah.
bad, and there's a huge income disparity between the guys at the top and the guys at the bottom.
sure. Yeah.
And the middle ground's tough. I mean, there's people that we probably all mutually respect that are in that line of work that are struggling financially, and we don't even realize it.
Yeah.
And I think about it all the time when I'm listening to the radio here. Even I'm like, those guys are doing what they love, but they're not doing it for a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know, it's passion.
Usually the perks are better than the money.
Yeah.
Sure.
You
Yeah.
know.
What do you listen to here? I know that's
Well, I mean, the local sports station. I
okay,
listen to
gotcha.
that. That's just one example.
Sure.
I listen to a lot of satellite radio actually these days, more than that.
XM.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
even those guys, I
They're probably not.
can't
making
imagine
any
they're
money.
making that great of money. But
Yeah,
they
I
love
was-
what they do, and for some people, that far outweighs the money.
Yeah. No,
I understand
definitely.
that.
If you love what you do, I mean,
Yep.
that's kind of where some people landed. But money can do a lot. Money can
It just
do-
opens up opportunities. That's what I
opens
tell
up-
the kids all the time.
Yeah.
It
It's
buys you opportunities.
buys you opportunities.
You know.
Yeah. It can't buy you happiness.
It doesn't
but-
solve anything. It just buys you opportunities, right? So, but yeah, I would.
Do you know that David Lee Roth quote though? Is money doesn't buy happiness, but it buys boats, and boats pull right up to happiness.
Okay. It's a good quote.
It's a great quote from a crazy guy.
Yeah, from a crazy person that you probably should not listen,
You know,
take
he's a-
advice from.
Oh, I'd take advice from him any day.
No, I think in '99, that's the way it looked. It was lean, and my wife and I were like, because we thought we were like, okay, we had left Detroit in '99, and we didn't think we'd ever come back. And she had a job offer to come back to Detroit, and it was pretty good pay. And I certainly wasn't making a lot of money at the time, so I was like, well, maybe we need to consider this, right? Plus, our family was back in the Detroit area, so if we start having kids, we've got the support of the family being nearby. So that's what we did. We decided to move back, and I remember I interviewed. I'll get myself in trouble here. I interviewed at WJR and WWJ, so those are the big 2 a.m. news stations and sports stations at the time. There was one FM sports station at the time, but those are the two. Those are the kind of stations that would do like a huge AM signal, broadcasting Tigers and Red Wing games on one, Pistons and Lions games on the other.
Okay.
So they're big.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, if I could just get my foot in the door at either one of these places, I could be set, right?
Right.
So I go interview. The interviews went good. I got one job offer, and the pay was like $11 an hour. And I was like, no, that's not going to work. And
So you
it
say
cost
no.
of living's a lot more. Well, not a lot more, but it's significantly higher in Detroit than it was in Grand Rapids.
At the time.
Yeah, at the time. And I'm like, well, this isn't going to work. So I had to pivot into something else. And I had taken some IT classes at Grand Valley State University when I lived in Grand Rapids
Yeah.
because I could take classes for free. I was like, maybe I just need to pivot to that. And we have a family member that was in the IT industry. And he came from humble beginnings like we did. So he became a mentor of mine for a little bit, and as far as that line
Is
of
it a
work
family
goes.
member, you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I wouldn't say he made anything happen, but he showed me the way, and he would crack open doors for me and let me kick them down.
Sure.
And that's what I did over and
you
over
were
again.
hungry.
I was
to get
very
going.
hungry. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I was in that industry for 11 years,
Wow. Okay, cool.
so.
What, during the time that he was doing that, what were you up to?
True, man. I was lost at sea. I was
Yeah.
we took one of our managers back to Detroit, and we just were driving around, showing him around.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, I used to work there. I used to work there. I used to work there. I mean, you could name a restaurant, and I've probably worked at it. So really never found my footing until I got into the bar industry at 26. It was more of a nightclub kind of atmosphere, but
Bartending?
no, bar managing.
Okay.
But just being around that activity and the
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 nightlife?
socialness of it. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I grew up pretty antisocial, anti-everything, hating everything. And it's a miserable life, but you don't realize that when you're a kid.
Right.
You think you're cooler than everything.
We
Yeah.
both thought we were punk rock.
Yeah.
Whatever
Yeah.
that meant in those days.
We just hated everything, but really at
Well-
the root of it, you're just making yourself miserable.
I'll be honest, you might have been.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what it is today,
I don't know either, but yeah, pretty lost. And I got at the bar and realized that people weren't awful. Everybody's just trying to get their way through life and having a good time. And it kind of changed my outlook on things, just being around that social activity.
Yeah.
and I was making great money. It was the most money I'd ever made in my life, making 60, 70 grand a year, which is, a ton of money in Detroit. And
That's an honest, great living.
yeah, and it was cash, so it was probably closer to 90 or to 100 because I was getting paid straight cash, not paying taxes on it. Shh. And which further fed into my punk rock lifestyle of not paying taxes and being cool.
Yeah.
But it was good. It was just good to be around people and not be playing video games 24 hours a day and getting fired every other week from my jobs. So
you felt like you found your footing.
yeah, it felt like I was an adult. I finally moved out of home out of my mom's house at 26 years old, and it just felt like a grown up for once. Had my own apartment, and just weird looking back.
Right. Well, what about it's weird? Sounds like a good
Just because,
time.
the way people probably view me now to
yeah.
how I was. That's not that long ago.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Well, you guys have gone through some drastic changes, right? So you were in Grand Rapids
In 99 and 2000, yeah.
and you were doing kind of
In
the bar
'99,
management.
I was 18, so I was probably at fucking Krispy Kreme making donuts. I don't know. Who
Were
knows
you
what
guys-
job that was?
Were you guys close though? Did you
Always.
We were close growing up, but if you were to ask me how much correspondence we had during those years, I don't remember really that well.
We would text, or
Yeah.
probably weren't texting in '99, but we were probably calling every once in a while. I mean, texting brings everybody a little bit closer.
Yeah.
Definitely
in a weird
does.
way.
Social media is like that too.
Yeah.
Like it's just enough to feel like you're, when you see each other, there's not time has
Total
passed.
loss, right?
Yeah.
But he got married and was working on family stuff, and I was still probably attached to him still because we were playing video games all day together.
We're
and-
still playing video games too.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, I got the new Madden.
Right.
I got the new NHL game.
So I
Yeah.
had lost that footing, I think, a little bit too, with like losing your best friend kind of thing, because
Sure.
he's went married and
Yeah.
spending time with his girl,
Yeah, that's a thing, right?
and I didn't have that, and my friends weren't doing anything, so
Yeah.
I'm playing a lot of roller hockey. I was awesome at roller hockey.
Roller hockey. I don't see much of
peaked.
that here.
I was
peaked.
I was a beast.
Were you?
Yeah, I was really good at roller hockey. I wish there was a
in like a cul-de-sac or something.
no. We had our city was nice enough to build us a roller hocky rink.
It was like a
kidding.
converted tennis court,
Yeah,
basically.
it was really nice. Though.
courts.
That's pretty badass.
Yeah, really
I'm
cool.
sure that ate up a lot of time. Roller hockey's
I was
fun.
pretty serious. If there would have been a professional league, I probably would have joined it. I was pretty serious about roller hockey.
I don't see much roller hockey.
No,
There's a floor hockey league over on the east side,
Okay.
and it's kind of gotten more popular.
and we've always talked about the Texas roller hockey or Texas.
What's that?
What's it called? I don't know, Texas Ball Hockey League or something. I follow them on Facebook. But
You're talking about the
floor hockey.
The floor. That's what I was
Just
talking
Texas
about.
floor
That- yeah,
hockey, right?
That's what I was saying.
We always talk about joining it.
I don't know, I
Are
watched
they-
I watched one of their videos. I'm like, I don't think I could do that.
Yeah.
I'd break a hip
anymore?
or something,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
sure.
can't afford to get hurt.
No, but back in the day, it'd be like a monster. No, that's good fun though, right? And
Yeah, I
you
was
guys-
having a ton of fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely did that my whole life. So
for sure. And then, I mean, we get to here in
Well,
2009. You came,
Yeah.
and I know you made this call, and you said there is nothing to eat.
Well,
Well,
it's
there's-
just it's not a fully realized pizza scene. I mean, I'm not here to shit on it. It just there wasn't a lot.
those Conan's was huge in 2010, 9.
Yeah.
And I mean, Manja was doing its thing. I remember Manja being a thing. I remember obviously Home Slice had just opened like in 07, 08.
Where are those guys from?
Home Slice?
Yeah.
I don't
I don't
know.
know where they're from. They're the nicest
Yeah,
people.
nicest
though.
people you'll ever meet, though. I know that.
I don't know where. I think they're from New York, though, aren't they? I don't know.
You should
I
have them
shouldn't
on.
even
You should have them on.
Sure, yeah.
If you can get them talking,
They're good folks,
They don't
man.
seem to do a lot of interviews.
Not in our circles. at
No,
least. I don't
but
know.
anyways,
This is more off the grid interview. It's not that's like a in depth.
Yeah.
Tell me your
They're-
favorite color.
they're all low key too. It seems.
Well, so I moved here 09. My family and I moved here in 09. The idea was to get out of the cold,
Yes.
get into a more, I would say, a more progressive, along with positive atmosphere.
Okay. Yeah. And Austin and 09, I don't know. That fits that bill, right?
Oh, very much so.
Yeah.
I mean, probably more so than it does now. Not that it's bad now, but it's different.
I remember coming to visit to see if he wanted to move here with him, and in Detroit we'd be like, "Well, you want to open a pizza place or something?" We just talk about anything, doesn't matter. And people would be like, "Well, why would you do that? You have a good job." You come to Austin and you would talk about it with people and they'd be like, fucking do it, man. Like, what's stopping you? And that was like that was the mood we wanted to be around.
Did you guys ever have this? What I don't like. There's something about like the water in New York, or like the pizza's just good. Like when I'm home in Chicago in the suburbs, and I go to any random, like throw a stone, and I try the pizza, it tastes good. And I never understood why we can't just have a good pizza here.
Well, I can tell you for sure what that is. It's not water. You know, it comes down to the ingredients, right? So it's about distribution channels, and it's about, like, for instance, in Detroit, the pizzas that we grew up, the majority of the pizzas that we grew up eating and loving, were all using the same brand mozzarella. Okay. We didn't know that it's growing up, of course, but you learn that over the years. And so and a lot of times they're using the same pepperonis, for instance. So those pepperonis have a certain taste. Yeah. And it scratches that itch in your brain. You're like, oh, that reminds me of my youth or whatever. And I think that is true of a lot of markets. Chicago has its own thing. Those sauce tastes a certain way. Not all the places, but the majority of them.
This is what it is.
That's a lot of it. I'm not saying it's everything. That's a lot of it.
And just having the access to, like you said, like
it's the channels, the distribution channels.
When we came down here, we're still having a hard time getting certain ingredients and certain cheeses.
But is that what you guys have done?
We've opened up some distribution channels to Central Texas that weren't here before us.
Okay, because you guys have nailed it. I mean, when I go there, I'm a very happy camper every time. Never been disappointed once.
I hope that it's creating the same type of cravings that we have about other pizza places from our home in Detroit. That's the idea.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying Detroit style, because none of the Detroit style places back home are using the same cheeses we use. I know that. We got our own thing going on, but
we're trying to elevate the game without being chefy about it.
Yeah. Well, whatever you guys are trying to do or
it's right in that line.
It's like
it's just right though.
Yeah, the greatest compliment is that we're better than who we tried to be.
Sure. Well, I mean, I've gone home and craved Via, so
you got Logan Square, Paulie G's Logan Square up there. It's
okay. I've not been there.
It's a little more fancier than what we like, and we've told them that. But it's great still. It serves a purpose in Chicago.
I think when you hear, to circle back to the New York comment, when you hear people go, well, it's the water. That's a very territorial. That's them holding on to like the last remaining
it's like
things
champagne
that they can hold on
saying
to.
You got to buy grapes.
It's like magic, right?
It's just not true, though.
Yeah.
It's just not true. And if it were, and maybe there, is there something to pH levels? And of course there is.
Yeah.
Right. Hard water isn't going to react the same as soft. I mean, I understand that. But you could bring a filter system and recreate that anyway. So it's not, you're not going to get it all from there.
Ingredients makes perfect sense.
And just education, too, I think.
Right.
If you grew up around, again, I don't want to say anything bad about Austin, but if you grew up around a certain kind of pizza, that's the pizza you're going to probably kind of try to replicate.
True. Just like, if there's always the same pepperoni, always the same cheese, that's what you know and you love, right? Yeah. But when you guys come here and you guys, people are like, yeah, go for it, open a pizza place. What, you bartending, or not bartending, bar managing, no kind of background in like owning a restaurant, or it started as a food truck.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's not what we wanted. I mean, we'll talk about that, but...
Yeah, it was supposed to be a restaurant, but...
Out of the gate, you guys were talking.
Thank God it wasn't.
So when you came down here, did you say, this is great, I want to move down here?
Well, yeah, my wife and I came in the summer of 2008, and if you remember, I don't know if you were here in summer of 2008. Summer of 2008, we were still at the early stages of a drought. We had a 4 or 5 years of drought.
Yeah.
So it was really, really, really hot, like hotter than normal. I remember it was like 100 degrees every day. We were here for 7 days.
Sort of had that in September.
Yeah, of course.
It's the norm now, but
yeah,
I think the Rot Rally was going on the weekend I was here. So that left, I was like, wow, there's a lot of motorcycles in Austin. I did know, But we were here for, I think, 5 of those 7 days, and we were at the hotel one night, and she just goes, let's just move here. Because we were trying to find out where we wanted to go.
It's funny, like a stretch of 100-degree weather, and she's like, this is perfect.
It was just because it wasn't Detroit winter, that's why.
Yeah, I know, right?
So
you guys get that gray
That's the thing, right? It's not the
Gloomy.
snow; it's that gloominess.
That's what I try and like convey to people when you talk about like shoveling snow, or it's not.
It's
that.
oppressive.
It's just the when it comes winter, it gets gray and it just stays
Yeah,
gray,
that-
and then you'll have the sun come out for a day, and you're like, oh, like you know,
It's a big deal.
How we
it's a big
dance in
deal.
the streets when it rains, we dance in the streets when the sun comes out.
Right. It's just
those
for a
short
minute, too.
days, you know. It's like the
Very short,
sunset.
dark,
if
dreary.
you're not going to see the sun, but the sun, you're not going to see it. But it'll rise at 9 and it'll set at 5.
Right. And I
You
remember
go to work
the
and it's
words
dark, you come home and it's
gloomy.
dark.
I remember the words gloomy and like dreary, and that describes it.
It is.
Just the Midwest. Yeah. So,
Summer's beautiful, but that's,
but she grew up there. in
Yeah, we
Detroit.
both did, yeah.
So getting out. Summer is beautiful. Fall, the seasons.
Fall's great.
Everybody I know who's come has kind of misses that.
I miss it too.
Yeah, for sure. But I get. Yeah. So she's like, yeah, this is not.
This is fine. You know,
Yeah.
it's warm. It'll be fine. It's positive. It's progressive. This will be fine. So we moved the following year, and
Yeah.
you know, to circle back to what Brandon was saying about family and friends, you start telling people what you're going to do. I'm going to leave Detroit. I'm going to move to Austin. Why would you do that? That's what people would say. Why would you want to
Get
do
some
that?
pushback.
You got a good gig here, you know. And then other people are like, "Yeah, you'll never do it. You'll change your mind." Or something. The kids were really young, you know, so they're like, you're not going to take the kids away from the grandparents. You're not going to take the kids away from the great grandparents.
Is that
but-
family or friends saying this?
Both.
Everyone.
That's everybody. It's just
It
nobody
almost
believes you're
makes
going to
you
do
do
anything.
it then, right?
Well, I mean, you could say that. That doesn't really motivate me, but I could see how it could. You know,
Naturally, you're just like, of course I can.
I mean, I'm a grown man. I could figure this out. I
Sure.
just remember thinking that, but it's just a lot of naysayers. To Brandon's point, I mean, it's constant.
Yeah.
You know, so moved in 09. Realized pretty quickly that the pizza scene was thin here,
Sure.
and I'm
You
not.
guys are so hesitant to bash it, but
Well-
it's pretty bleak.
Well, I mean, I'm sure there's a bunch of people that have
Oh, they love-
fantastic memories to
Yes,
all
yeah.
of this stuff.
Right.
So you can't replace people's memories.
Sure. But now their memories are being created with Fiat 313.
Well, I mean, better is subjective too, right?
It's whatever you like.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
It's true. No, you guys have a good point.
I mean, we try to be the best, but that's for you to decide.
I've decided.
Well, thanks.
Yeah.
I just remember. It was then. There was nothing that reminded me of home. That's what it was.
Yeah.
There's good New York pizza here at the time. I thought there was like 2. I think Little Deli was serving
yeah,
pizza at
Little
that
Deli
point.
too,
So I had
yeah.
Little Deli and Home Slice. I both appreciate. And you know, House Pizza had just opened. They were doing that was I think one of the first Neapolitan places in town up on Airport. They were doing a nice job.
Mm-hmm.
But aside from that, like the places that would be synonymous with Austin from that, you know, maybe the 90s and the early 2000s, like Austin Pizza and
Gotti's.
Conan's and Gotti's, and that stuff didn't strike a chord with me. I mean, I
Sure.
know like a lot of locals love that stuff, and I like Brandon said, I understand why. It just didn't remind me of home,
Right, yeah.
you know. So I remember calling him and saying, I think there's an opportunity, and I don't think it was necessarily about Detroit pizza. That really wasn't a thing at the time. It
Just
was
pizza.
just pizza. And we started a dialogue about that. I started working on recipes. I'd share my recipe. You know, it's funny. I've got a Microsoft Word document
Yeah.
that I started when we started doing dough formulations, and I would take notes, pros and cons every time we would try something. I'd send it to him. He would try things, edit it, send it back to me. I
So
found that
you're back home.
A little bit, but I'm not as much of a tinker as he is. I'm part of the millennials. I need the instant gratification. So when it's not right, I almost get discouraged. And
it can be discouraging. It's understandable.
Sure.
But we went back and forth because we both knew what we were after, and I felt like we both needed to sign off on what each other was experiencing.
Yeah.
So and also at the time, in looking back, it solidified my belief that we were on the same page about this. That it needed to taste a certain way, the dough needed to feel a certain way. You know, the crumb needed to look a certain way, the edges needed to be a certain
even
way.
the mouth texture,
Yeah.
like just the weirdest things.
We were
would-
100% on the same page about these things, and it made me feel like, okay, we can definitely do this because we want the same thing.
That's a good feeling, right?
Yeah.
You guys are like riffing
We never
off
talked
each
about
other.
this, but clearly, in hindsight, that's what was going on.
Right.
You know, but I found that document the other day when I was going through my laptop
really?
looking for something. I should show it to you. It's pretty funny.
I don't want to see.
You don't want to see it, but that
And
was
it's funny too. Is like it's not that long ago, but this shit wasn't like on the internet. This wasn't available. I mean, there was dough recipes on the internet, but
Yeah.
not for what we were looking for. I mean, it's available now, but there was no Detroit style. I mean, people were trying to find videos of them, the Detroit style pizza places back home, like working in the kitchen and just trying to get anything, dumpster diving and trying to get bills and seeing where they're buying their shit
really?
from.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there was just nothing out there yet about this because Detroit style pizza wasn't even a thing.
Yeah.
It was just called pizza back home.
I mean, honestly, the Detroit pizza. There was probably 5 or 6 reputable places serving the style of pizza that we serve here. So that would.
What do we call it? Just Detroit style?
And at the
in
time,
Detroit, it's called square
it's
pizza.
just square pizza.
Square
At the
pizza.
time.
Okay.
And they all have their own spin on it. None of them are exactly the same. Some people like this one, some people like that one. They're all good. They're
Right.
just a little different.
But one family owned
Right.
all of the shit.
Oh, really?
They were just like I got mad at him and started my own place, and
then we would change like the cheese or something.
Yeah,
but-
and so everybody was
sounds
from
like a
this-
family, right?
Right. Everybody hated each other, and they all went off and did their own things.
Sure.
But it was all very similar.
It's kind of like here in Central Texas. There's a barbecue tree, like in the NFL, you have a coaching tree.
Right.
We have a barbecue tree. Here, it all starts with like the Miller family up in Taylor, Texas. It all starts with that. Honestly, it's the same thing in Detroit. It's the same thing. It starts with one family. It's the Guerrero family.
Okay. The Guerrero family.
Yeah, that's where it starts. So that's
So you
respect.
guys,
I respect.
but you
them.
guys come to something that, what you have now, right? You guys find this recipe that you're looking for. You guys both kind of
Well, to
agree
find
on
it, we created it.
create it.
Yeah, we created it.
you've gone back and forth. You found
And even then, we don't really believe that it's worth good enough to serve to people. Like it might be okay for us,
Yeah.
but it's not ready for prime
And
time.
it's hard because I think when you go eat at a restaurant, there's something semi-romantic. Like you got a server, you got
100%.
you got shit around you that just gets you going, like sports on TV.
It's an event.
right?
Yeah.
And so when you're eating at home by yourself,
yeah.
pizza, you're like, this isn't good because
Right.
you don't have anything wrapping you up.
And
It's
I
the
couldn't
whole
get it out
thing,
of my
the booth.
Right.
Yeah.
and I couldn't get it out of my head that we weren't using the ingredients that we really wanted anyway. So how would we really know what we're using is correct?
Right.
Right. But I think I had some people over for a pizza party, some neighbors. I lived in Barton Hills. I was renting a house, and they all came over, and I was almost embarrassed to serve the pizzas I had made because I didn't think
was
they were
this
up to speed.
Square,
Yeah.
crispy crust, all this.
Yeah, this is like I'd have to look. It was in '09. It's probably before you moved there, actually, and or moved here. And everybody was like, "Dude, this is fantastic. This is amazing. This would be the best pizza in Austin if you opened right now."
What did you think when they said
I thought they
that?
were crazy. I'm like,
Yeah?
"There's no way,
Okay.
no way."
What do you think now?
Oh, but the recipe's changed since.
Yeah.
Oh, has it? Has it?
Yeah.
We have
our-
better ingredients.
Yeah,
now.
better techniques. Our dough techniques are better. Our
But the
pans are
kind
better.
of idea of it kind of stay is
it's
still
that
the same.
craveability.
And
That's what it
And
was.
it's a lack of confidence too.
Yes.
Ultimately, with all of this stuff, is we're not worthy of any of this. Who are we? If this was such a great idea, somebody would have done it already in
Yeah.
Texas.
That runs through your head, right?
Oh
the
yeah,
time.
and I think it's just a product of where you come from. You're just lack of just can do again.
So tell me you guys had a vision, right, of what you wanted this place to be.
Did we go to California before or after I moved here? I can't remember. I think it was before, and we ended up meeting out there, right?
Correct.
So we went to San Francisco and trained with Tony Gimignani, who owns Tony's Pizza Place and a host of
Pizza Rock and
a million other
Yeah.
things.
So,
Compliment.
and this is all like getting prepped up. You guys are serious. You're going to
Yeah.
open
we went there. We had our recipe done at this point. We were comfortable with the recipe, but like Brandon said, and I'll let him talk about this.
yeah, I mean,
I'm
we
talking
just
too much, but there's no confidence.
Tony's the greatest pizza maker in the world, and he goes to Italy and beats them at their game, and he offers a class on. At the time, it was classic Italian and Neapolitan style, and we thought, well, maybe we'll do two different styles of pizza. We go there and we learn a lot from Tony, and just spending time with him in a room with somebody. That's basically what we were kind of after, is to be able to make friends with them
hands-on.
and have a guy that we could lean on if we need help.
And see what a busy operation looks like. all those
just-
things.
we didn't know anything,
Yeah.
and he more than helpful, telling us that your story's it, man. You guys got it, and he was extremely helpful early on with the confidence building and pizza making. I mean, he opened up some avenues for us because he had a lot of connections with different cheese makers and different sauce, just anything, pepperonis,
Excellent.
whatever you need. If you had a problem with a mushroom. He knew a mushroom guy could get you the right
Oh, yeah.
mushrooms, and I mean, he'd help you out in any way he could. And he's got to be one of the busiest people in the industry, you know. But he would always make time for us. So.
Do you guys still bounce stuff off him?
We don't bounce things off him, but he's there.
Yeah.
If I reach out to him, we chat. You know, I mean, he's there.
Good guy.
We
Yeah.
think highly of him. He thinks highly of us. It's great.
Very cool.
Yeah, I mean,
we're kind of
'cause-
in our. To be honest with you, we're kind of in a bubble down here in Austin a little bit. And as far as
Yeah.
the national pizza scene goes, I think we're a little cut off.
Well, I totally random, but this there was that I don't know if it was an article, but a list of like the best pizzas in Texas. You guys weren't on that or something?
Yeah, it was like the times.
How about a bubble?
Time Out.
That's for a bubble for
I don't know.
you.
What is that?
It was called like Time Out magazine or something. But we, you
There's
know,
a
we can
million
do
lists and everything.
for us. What we can do is one, we don't really care about any list anywhere. But
Sure.
It's nice when we get it, but it's not.
you know who doesn't win awards? Jack Allen's, and he's the best
Yeah.
business
He's one of the
owner
best
in town.
restaurateurs in town,
So that's what we use as our
And lists
star.
are
it's highly subjective.
silly. Yeah. Well, because
There's a
there
lot of
was also
aggregate-
another one like the best pizza in America, and you guys were on that list, and I was like, okay,
Yeah.
how are they not? Yeah. So
We don't care about any of that shit.
sure. Well, like I said, somebody's just writing those.
Yeah.
I can write a list and
Oh,
publish it.
are we busy on a Monday night? We are. So we are the best pizza in our world.
You guys are busy every night, right?
Right.
That is a thing, right?
So, and it ain't because of any awards. It's you got to just take care of people,
For sure.
and taking care of people doesn't win awards.
Oh, you guys are doing a good job at that. So you guys are both totally serious. You guys go out there and you come here. And what was the initial, like, did you guys get
we were
cold
fired
feet
up.
or- yeah.
No, we were fired up when we got here.
Yeah.
And then he moved here a short time after that.
Okay.
Yeah, we knew. Well, our mom. If you want to talk about that, I don't. Our mom passed away,
Okay.
and I don't know what
year?
year that was. I'd have to look in my wallet.
2010. She passed in 2010.
2010. So this is right when he just pretty much left.
That's rough.
Well, yeah, it was not easy at all, and we knew she was not going to be around a lot longer,
Sure.
and it was right in line with me moving here.
But she kind of knew that life doesn't stop for her.
Yeah, she was like, "You guys have to move. You have to go start your own life. You can't
that's rough.
can't wait around."
Was
for me."
your dad around?
Honestly, it was really awesome that he started spending a little bit more time with her because he had moved on and gotten married and cleaned his
good.
life up and
Good.
was doing well on his own. And I'm
So
sure
she tells
his-
you guys go pursue your dreams.
pretty much. I mean, the thing was that was a nice kick in the ass for us was we thought she worked for the airlines and she did a lot of stuff, go to the Cayman Islands all the time, going to just traveling because she could with the airlines. And we thought she lived a pretty good life. I mean, way too young, like 50, 56 is way too young to pass away. But we thought she lived a pretty good life. And she had passed away with all these regrets of things that she didn't do or accomplish or, it's just life got cut in half almost for her. So
Was that an illness or?
yeah, she had breast cancer, and then it went to her brain.
Oh.
And but you know what? The best thing about all of that is we got to say goodbye. We got to sew up a lot of unfinished business. The timeline was pretty much to a T when they said it was going to happen.
Wow.
So I mean, we're thankful that we got to have all of that stuff because so many people, walk in and find somebody passed away, and there's no closure.
Yeah.
So we had all of that, but that really hit us pretty hard. Is he's got a great gig, but he didn't like doing it. I have a great gig, but I'm 30 years old now, hanging out with a bunch of 19 and 20-year-old girls, and while on the surface it was lovely, it's like I'm the old creepy guy hanging out at the bar buying everybody drinks.
So it opened your eyes.
Yeah.
She like as he said about the regret. She's just like, I have so many things that I told myself I was going to accomplish in my life that I put off for a variety of reasons, and now I'm not going to get to any of that. Do not do what I did.
Huh.
Go out and not that this was about us opening a pizza place. I don't think we ever talked to her
No,
about
it
that
wasn't
actually.
even. We're a little bit digressing, but
Yeah.
But that's some serious advice.
yeah.
And for sure a heavy hitter, right? I mean, she's on her way out and she kind of tells you guys that. And to do what you guys have done now, I'm sure. It's like you said, all these little places I've worked have all played an impact. Like that's probably something that kind of like pushed you guys over the finish line, maybe. You know what I mean?
For sure.
There's a little funny thing there. She for some reason in her latter years, she got really into like palm readings and tarot cards and so I don't know. You remember
Okay.
this?
Yeah, I had the cassette for a while.
So she was like, I went and saw this palm reader, and the palm reader. This is a couple years before she passed, and she was like, the lady knew that I had 2 sons, and knew the roundabout ages, knew you were married with kids, knew Brandon didn't have kids,
My life together.
and and then she's like, the lady swore up and down that you and him were going to be highly successful in your careers,
And not to worry about us.
and not to worry about
ever.
Yeah, for her not to worry about us.
That's cool.
And I was like, yeah, sure, Mom.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You have brain cancer. Be quiet.
Exactly.
I'm just kidding.
Right. No.
I mean, she, with brain
Well,
cancer,
sure.
she would say, just talk about random crazy stuff.
You never knew. You
Yeah.
never knew what switch was going to be.
You'd have to pick through it.
Yeah. But I'm sure that set her at ease. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
For her, it may sound crazy, but I'm sure it helped her out.
I'm sure.
So, yeah.
And then she was right too.
when he moved here, I remember him texting me or calling me. I don't know timeline wise, but telling me, it's fucking 70 in January. What are you doing?
New Year's Day, sitting over at Freddy's on First Street with my family, playing washers in the back. Remember when Freddy's was open up
sun's
back
out.
down there?
Yeah.
It's
And-
like,
and
it's like
just-
a blizzard in Detroit, and
Yeah.
that's just tough.
I hated
It's a
my
tough life.
bosses. I hope they listen to this. I hated my bosses, and they hated me. And I decided I wanted to move to Austin, and our mom left us a little bit of money, not nothing life changing, but enough to
Enough to help us get the first trailer started.
yeah, enough to
basically.
get to Austin and get a trailer open, basically.
Very cool.
And got married. A lot of people don't know this, but got married, moved down here with my wife, and quickly realized we probably shouldn't be married.
Okay.
That
Was it mutual? You guys
Yeah, it was
still
a pretty
friends?
clean break. I wouldn't say I wouldn't say we're friends, but I don't like if I seen her and she seen me, we would say hi and catch up. There's no ill will. It just
I have I got married quickly, moved down here, realized we should
Yeah.
be married too. So
and she's
I
doing
relate.
great, I think it seems, and obviously things are good with us. So I don't think there's any ill will. It was a pretty clean break. The divorce costs more than the marriage, and
Yeah, it's a bummer, right? It didn't work, but I'm sure you're happier.
I wouldn't say happier. That's not nice to say about her, but
I'm sure you guys are both happy.
yeah. We're both where we probably need to be.
Sure, yeah.
So,
But this is so mom has played it's almost like paying homage to her in a way. You guys are successful. She helps you guys a little bit with getting the first trailer
Yes.
started.
Yes.
Which you guys mentioned you wanted it to be a brick and mortar, which in retrospect may be a good thing. I mean, brick and mortar is a real pain, right?
yeah, I remember flying back home and asking, we don't come from money. We don't know people with money.
You don't know a lot of business owners.
We don't know,
Nothing.
it's not like we have a guy or a girl we can just call and just get some checks cashed for us. But I remember calling anybody that I knew that I thought were successful. And these are factory workers that might have retired a little bit earlier because they played their cards right. And them going, I don't see it, man. I'm sorry. And I flew home. I had no money, or very little money. Flew back to Detroit to try and raise money with the people that I knew, and everybody just pretty much wasted my time. Nobody wanted to take us seriously, and they shouldn't have, because I'm a high school dropout. He's an IT guy, and we're trying to open a pizza place. I mean,
That can be eye opening too. Of how hard it can be to start a business.
yeah. I mean, do something and then prove it, and that's what kind of the running theme with all of this was, being around different people. They were, why don't you do something first? Why don't you just you guys are just
do a pop up at just serve pizza somewhere and start getting feedback. Just do something. Get your name out there. Do something.
prove it to me that you actually give a shit. Kind of.
It's just funny because it's the same attitude we take now when people come to us.
yeah. Go just stay active.
Show me something.
Once you put yourself out there, people start rallying and coming around,
Yeah.
and they want to help. It's just good energy to be around. So
Especially, I think, in Austin. I mean, we can't speak right to Detroit or, really anywhere else. I mean, I don't know, but I know in Austin, you guys are active. You guys are out there helping people. I don't know if I think it's more cutthroat in other areas of the U.S.
It's a little friendlier here.
yeah, and there's a lot of people with money here that don't know what to do with it. Not that they've ever helped us, but they seem to be helping other people.
Right.
But so I moved down here. I think I had 10 grand. He had 10 grand, and his father-in-law gave us 10 grand. He was the only person that believed in us.
And we need to be clear about my father-in-law too. We're not talking about money bags here. We're talking about a guy that's military.
Worked for it.
Yeah, he's a military
VA.
guy. VA hospital. Worked in the VA hospital later. He had to retire. He wasn't retired yet. He was still working, but he had a retirement account, and he figured a way out to take money out of his 401k
Okay.
to help us. It's like a
Huge
loan.
risk.
Huge risk. And I even remember telling him, like, you don't have to do this because I don't think taking money out of your retirement makes sense. And he's like, yeah, but I've had your guys' pizza. I believe in where this is going.
Only person that believed in us.
Yep.
What about your wife?
What, in terms of what?
Did she believe in the pizza?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. But she's not giving me money.
Right.
Her dad gave us some money.
So with that, you guys get the trailer and set up on 6.
Yeah.
And was it instant? No.
In terms of success?
We had figured out.
Yeah.
I had just gotten fired from Freebirds. Called him crying because we had been sitting on this business plan for about a year now.
After you were here.
Yeah,
Okay.
almost a year.
And we should be clear about we had a really tight business plan, a really nice financial package.
I was
we
gonna
spent a
ask,
lot of money, or a lot of time on this to
But
make
the
to make
business
everything look
plan
right.
was around a brick and mortar at first.
Yes.
Yeah, and people were helping us out. We had what's the guy's name from Green Lantern? He probably doesn't even want to be mentioned.
Green Lantern.
Or Green Mesquite. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, he's a good guy. What's it?
Anyways,
a
we're
good
gonna
guy,
get into
yeah,
way
yeah,
too
yeah.
many side stories
Yeah.
here, but that's a great story. He ran into this guy. We went to the Pizza Expo
Oh, we can talk about that.
with
That's
no
good
business.
stuff.
We had no business. We just made fake business cards, acting like we're a legit business at the Pizza Expo, trying to meet people. And I don't know if you know anything about the Pizza Expo, but
No.
it's a huge deal. It's like 10 football fields of just
wow.
everything that you can think of.
Here in Austin?
Yeah, no, in Vegas.
Okay.
Huge deal. I
It's
mean,
like the International Pizza Expo.
yeah, people flying in from Italy, people flying in from France, anywhere. Just it's a huge deal. And we just went there to try and meet people and learn. They have a ton of seminars that are very helpful.
I'm sure that was cool, right?
But while we're there, it's Brady
Johns.
Brady Johns.
He's a Dell guy, but he owns some of the restaurants around town. He's got his
Yeah.
hands
So we're on the craps table, I think,
at the Hard Rock.
at the Hard Rock.
Yeah.
And after just fooling everybody at the Pizza Expo that we're legit business owners. And
This guy's got a big cowboy.
What was
hat.
your name at the time? It was
it was called Red Top
Red Top,
Pies.
yeah.
Red
Yeah,
Top
and it was
Pies.
very it was very political type messaging, like a
Had that
fist.
Soviet era propaganda,
Red
you know?
And it was probably a little polarizing, so it's probably good we didn't go with it. But
It looked cool.
it looked really cool. But we're playing against the opposite side of them. And, the craps table can be a ton of fun. Usually the table's high-fiving and partying together. And
Right.
this guy at the end of the table's got a cowboy hat on and not having it. He wasn't being mean, but he just wasn't.
He's keeping to himself.
He was keeping to himself. And it was getting late. So I don't remember how we ended up talking to him.
I remember standing next to him and I said, where are you from? And he's like, Austin. I'm like, really? I just moved there. We just started talking. And then find out he doesn't advertise as being an IT guy. He's like, I own some restaurants.
Okay.
And we ended up just chatting for a couple minutes. He was super friendly.
We
and
thought he was going to be our savior. We
gave
thought he was
us-
going to stroke us
he
a
gave
check.
us his business card. He's like, just call me sometime. We'll sit down and talk. And I'm like, oh, dude,
He had Schultz.
we've got it. We've got this figured out.
Yeah, he
you
had
know,
Schultz, right? I think he was involved with Schultz.
Yeah, he's in Schultz Beer Garden. Yeah.
Beer Garden. It's like, this guy's it, Long story, to wrap this up with that, is he was very helpful and like a fucking get your shit together. Quit talking
We
about it.
sat
and
down
do
with him once
something.
at Black Sheep and had a great. We brought our business plan. We were trying to sell him on this, right?
Right, yeah.
And he's like, I like everything you guys are saying. It looks great. And he's like, you guys need to go do something though. Get your name out there. And we're like, we knew he's right,
Just
right? But we're
falls in line with what everybody else.
like,
is
okay,
telling
all
us.
right. So a year goes by and he's working. I'm working. There's no progress made in anything. We call another meeting with him. He meets us. Black Sheep probably sat at the same table. And he's like, we talked to him. It was a good meeting.
You're
Like,
wasting my
super
time.
friendly. And he's just like, guys, we sat here a year ago and you haven't done a damn thing in the year that we talked.
You're
have you?"
wasting my time. Do
It's like,
something.
you still need to do something. And we're like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
So then I get a job at Freebirds, get fired from Freebirds, going through my divorce. Pretty much, I was listening to this other podcast, How I Built This. I don't know if you listen to that.
Such a good podcast.
I don't remember who said it, but he said, I don't recall ever wanting to kill myself, but I know why people do it. And I felt like that just hit home to me when he said that. Because I never actively sat around thinking about, this is it, I'm done.
Yeah.
But I also was like, if there's a time to ever do it, it's right now. And it was a super dark time in my life because,
Well, the divorce is not easy.
well, no divorce. I know nobody here. He's busy.
Yeah.
And I probably got too much pride to ever call him and be like, I need help.
Yeah.
And I just lost my job, which I just got my apartment away from my ex-wife. So now I just signed up for a bunch of bills and I have no money. And it was just the awful. I could probably just cry right now thinking about how awful it was.
I just feel like the walls are closing in.
And I might have to
what
go
it is.
back home, and that's just the worst. Nothing against Detroit. It's just I failed.
I would have never
Sure.
let that happen.
And I called him crying, not like profusely, but one little tear fell. And just like, we got to do this, man. This is,
The idea is I can't keep doing this. I don't want to work for somebody.
I'm the
anymore.
worst employee ever. I mean, I've had 1,000 jobs, and I mean well, but I don't do well. And he was like, all right, well, how much money do you need to live? And I figured it out. I needed about absolute minimum to pay my bills and stay afloat was like $250 a week. So we'd built that into the business plan to open a food trailer
And just go all in.
and just go all in. And again, he had a day job, but he worked from home, so he had a little bit of flexibility to dip out and check in on things. But we built the trailer with Donnie Boyd. Donnie Boyd. I always want to mention him.
There
I
you
feel
go.
like
Mention Donnie.
we don't do a good enough job giving him credit because we didn't have a dollar to our name. And Donnie, who was a local electrician who worked on a lot of the Mohawk and
Yeah.
Red 7 when it was Red 7, and he was just kind of punk rock dude that would help anybody out even though he hated everybody. He's the grumpiest dude, but he was helpful.
Right.
And he helped us out so much, and we didn't have anything to pay him really. I'm still waiting for that bill, but
He helped you build the trailer?
pretty much. I mean,
He did the electricity. And it was him and Rich.
And
Rich
Rich.
did the floor. My
Yeah.
father-in-law. I mean,
a father-in-law was
just scrapped
super
it out,
helpful.
man. This is bootstrapping big time.
I sat out there for 8 hours because we couldn't afford like paint, so I would just buy spray paint cans and spray paint the trailer
really?
Yeah,
black.
so people ever thought that first trailer was black because we were trying to be hard or cool or no.
You're trying
We
to
didn't have
cover
any
it.
money. We just covered it up, man.
Yeah.
It was neon blue. It used to be Nakoa, who's a lifelong Austin guy. Everybody knew him. He owned a pig luau trailer doing Hawaiian food. And it didn't work out with the owners of Violet Crown, so he threw it up on Craigslist, just trying to get rid of it. And now looking back, we way overpaid for it.
Oh, okay.
I think
But
we
man.
paid like $16,000, which it probably should have been like 8 or 9, probably, because it was falling apart.
Sure.
But we were just so happy. Like, this is it. The East Side was just starting to get, like, I don't want to say cool because it was cool before that, but
Started to get, it was more attention.
just getting more attention to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
Violet Crown had just opened, and it was like the new cleaner bar than Shangri-La and Liberty and Grackle. And we opened that trailer with, again, 30,000 all in. Here's a good story. I want to get. We had no money. We were running out of money because we put it all into the trailer. And Chris Fish, who
Oh, we're dragging our ass getting
Yeah,
open too.
we're
That's the other because we get the confidence
again,
isn't
the
there.
confidence again is still
We're
not
so
there.
afraid to open, even after we own the trailer.
Well, so you got all the permits, everything's ready to go, and you guys couldn't. You were still worried about opening.
We want everything to be perfect.
We wanted everything to be perfect.
Whatever that
Perfectionist.
means.
Yeah, stupid. And we had no money. We were running out of money. And Fish, who is running the bar, says there's some tattoo guy that's on TV, Corey Hart, or I don't know what his name is.
They're both.
He sucked, whatever his name
Both
was.
those guys are musicians. That's nice. Corey Hart and Corey Taylor.
Yeah, neither one of them is this guy's name. He doesn't even deserve the respect of getting his name right. He sucked. So he's coming to town. He designed a Tawaka bottle, and they want you guys to just keep making pizzas, and it's $1,000. And we were like, well, we're not ready yet. And he's like, you need to be ready because this event
Again, you
needs
guys
you.
are hearing this, right?
Yeah,
Loud and clear.
Right.
loud and clear. So we take the $1,000, cash a check, and we don't have an oven, and the floor wasn't even done. And the oven, so
we're planning on opening the trailer to serve pizza for an event, and we don't have product
ingredients or an oven.
or an oven.
Or an oven.
Right.
Oh Lord.
And I don't. How did you get Dan Nelson's phone number? Do you?
I don't know.
He got Dan Nelson, who is
It's a local.
food
He's
guy,
a-
or not a food guy, but a commercial
restaurant equipment.
commercial
Commercial restaurant
equipment, but
equipment, yeah.
very high end stuff. So he shouldn't
Yep.
even be talking to us. And we get his number, and we're like, "Hey, we need an oven by basically tomorrow."
And we kind of knew what we wanted. a roundabout. We done research.
He's like,
You know, it's funny. These things might not even. We knew what we want. It doesn't mean that it's around here.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that there's one in Texas.
and we got the right electrical hookup for
There's
it.
a lot of things that could go wrong here.
and we got like 24 hours basically to get this
Wow.
oven. And Dan's like, let me call some people. And he doesn't know us.
Right.
I mean, it's so dumb looking back. And I wish Dan was here to tell his side of the story of why he took that phone call. But that's why he's good at what he does. But he calls some guy in San Antonio, and he's like, well, I got this Baker's Pride oven in the warehouse. It's just sitting here if you guys want to come down. So we make a batch of dough, put it in pans, and I'm driving a pickup truck, drive it down to San Antonio.
You had the pickup truck.
Yeah, and meet Seth, who is the guy that owned
Seth Wickersham.
Yeah, he owned this company, and Dan, who we just
Yep.
met the first time down there. And we make him a pizza on this oven. It's perfect. We'll take it.
It turned out perfect. So many things could have went wrong. And
Yeah.
I was expecting it to be bad, but it was perfect.
And we were like, we need the plug to be this because it's got to go back in this
And
trailer.
It's all worked.
It's perfect.
It just worked.
We threw it in the
Stars
back.
aligned, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And he was like, I don't know, I think it was $2,500. Just give me $2,500, get it out of here. That was all the money we had left, just about. And
And you drove that in the bed from San
I think this is
Antonio.
important to know. You keep saying this, but I mean, really, it's true. We had a business bank account through Velocity.
velocity. Yeah.
That
And
was
and
just-
we put a little bit of money in it to fund the business to get open, but we weren't doing anything, and we kept buying stuff
So
for the
it's
trailer.
depleting.
So it was
And I'm
depleting.
paying myself $250 a week out
Right.
of that
So
too.
we had gotten to a point where there was like less than $100 in that account,
Wow.
and that was that along with Chris Fish saying you guys need to do this.
Yeah, that's cutting
We're
it
like
close.
we were out of time.
Yeah.
And when I wasn't gonna, I mean, I guess I could have, and I would have put more money into the business, but we really didn't want to.
we didn't want to.
Sure.
We always were sensitive to like, he has a family, and the family comes first. The
Yeah.
business comes second. Like we very well could put the house up for collateral. Well, you were renting on it,
Yeah,
So
exactly.
you couldn't even put the house up for collateral. But we were always very sensitive. The family comes first, so we throw the oven in the back of the truck, drive it down, and we make a batch of dough. It turns out nobody gives a crap about this idiot, and like 5 people show up to see him, and we make
wow.
like 5 pizzas, and he leaves, and nobody gives a crap. So
But you had
kept
all
that
the
money.
But we're high
equipment.
fiving, like, we made.
Oh wait, side note
Oh,
too.
you still got paid
we have
without-
no ingredients.
Oh, this is a whole other thing. That's a whole other thing.
So we had no ingredients, and there happens to be a Benny Keith show at the Expo Center or
The convention
Irwin
center.
yeah, or somewhere. I
Was
don't
that the
remember.
Austin Convention Center?
Okay,
Yep.
and we're basically telling them like we got 24 hours to. These timelines aren't correct now that I'm thinking about it, but we basically had like 2 or 3 days to whip this all together. So we go over there and we're like, listen, we need enough pizzas. We'll pay for all this shit. But they were like, no, we want you as a customer.
It's the last day of the show.
Yeah.
So we can't do anything with these ingredients. They're sitting here in coolers. Just take it.
Yeah, just so they
Okay.
gave us enough cheese, flour, sauce,
Perfect.
pepperonis.
And it was almost all the stuff that we wanted, except for the flour. But
yeah.
we had some
I
other
don't
brand.
remember.
But it was the right cheese. It was it was what we
So
wanted.
think about this too. As a food trailer, you're not usually busy enough to put a food order in to get a food truck, right?
Yeah.
Most people in a food truck are running around town, scrapping up, or going to Restaurant Depot getting shit.
Sure.
So Benny Keith wanted our business for whatever reason, and it wasn't enough to get a truck there. So we would have to drive to the warehouse to put it all in the back of my truck, then drive it back to the food trailer and put it all away. So it was just a chaotic time. So anyways,
But this guy has about 5 people show up.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody cares about him. Nobody still cares about him.
Corey Hart Taylor.
Corey Hart Taylor.
That's the guy that
Man.
sings for that's Slipknot.
That's Slipknot.
I'm gonna look it up while we're talking, but
Don't say his name.
no, I want to make sure he gets the proper credit
Okay.
for how much he sucks.
For all 5 customers.
Yeah.
But to in his defense, he got you guys off your ass.
Every one of these guys that we're talking about, whether it's Dan Nelson or Chris Fish at the Violent Crown or Brady Johns, I mean, all these guys
That's his name.
are
Yes.
Corey Miller.
Corey Miller.
All these guys are kicking us a little further down, a little further. That's what that is,
So
and we needed it.
and it wasn't a wildfire out of the gate.
Now, first night we had a Facebook page, and we had like maybe 10 followers. Not that make or break our business. We had like 10 followers, and I remember going, well, I don't know who's going to show up.
Right.
I mean, we have a big sign on the trailer facing 6th Street that says Via 313 Detroit Style Pizza. We did that on purpose. Called ourselves Detroit Style Pizza on purpose because we did not want to get lost in the fray of just being another pizza place.
Sure,
We
yeah.
really wanted to stake our claim that this is what we were doing.
We were across the street from Spartan Pizza too, so it was important that we kind of drew a line in the sand. Like, do you want Spartan Pizza, which could be anything because it's pizza,
Right.
or Detroit style pizza? And so it was very. Now looking back, it was very smart, but we weren't that smart.
Oh, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that we're really smart, but it was done on purpose.
Well,
Yeah.
you know, the plan you guys came up with and executed eventually, you know, whether or not it's your story and it doesn't feel like it, but it's
Well, again, it's like going all in with a pair of eights, going, well, I hope the other person doesn't have anything.
Yeah.
Like, because it was like, we're going to go all in with all, and it'll either the smartest thing or the dumbest thing we've ever done.
so in
And
a way.
all in, I remember being at that pizza expo that he was talking about, being in somebody's seminar, and they're like, if the guy on the stage is like, if I'm going to go out of state or go out of business, it's not. I'm going to make sure it's not because I'm serving an inferior product. I'm going to serve the best pizza I can with the best flour, the best sauce, the best cheese. If nobody shows up, then that's fine. They didn't like what I made
But I tried.
with these great, but I put my best foot forward.
Yeah.
And I remember that, and I was like, well, that's what we're going to do.
Sure.
We're not going to cut costs on things. We're going to put the best pizza we can out there, and it's going to cost a little bit more, and hopefully people respond to it.
So we had figured out we needed to do $200 a day
Yep.
to stay afloat,
Yeah.
which is at our pricing is about 12 pizzas a day. Right?
So no
Yeah.
market, but you know, at
There was
the
no
evenings, right? That
Yes, evenings
kinda
only.
worked out though.
It was 5 nights a week at first.
And the Crown was not very busy, but it was
Busy.
becoming. It was
I-
getting busier.
And there's
No, it's
people
'cause
walking
in
by. so.
retrospect, I'd been there, but the brick and mortars must not. When did the brick and mortars open? When
Yeah,
did
I guess
the
we
first
need
one?
to start moving this story along a little bit.
Yeah.
We're already an hour in, and we haven't even gotten to like where we are.
When did the first one open?
So we
'Cause-
opened East 6 in 2011, December. We opened.
Oh wow, that's the,
the
first
trailer.
one.
Yeah.
The trailer. Okay.
Yeah, the trailer at East 6, sorry. Then we opened the second trailer pretty much December of 2012, and that was at Red Shed. And we did that because they were awesome customers. They would always come up and like, man, South Austin needs good pizza. And we did our second location out there. They gave us great rent. They were super kind to us. Looking back, it was just a little too early, too soon for South Austin.
But it did teach us a ton
What a
about how to
bummer.
handle 2 operations,
Yeah.
just the 2 of us.
Yeah, it was just busy enough to pay the bills, but just slow enough to teach us how to not be everywhere at the same time.
Did you guys get? Were you guys thinking this is going to become a thing?
I thought it was going to be a neighborhood pizza place. Like people would drive up on their way home.
You're talking about Red Shed.
Yeah, I thought the bar's not super packed, but people will stop and get a pizza on the way home, and it would be like the cheap Domino's storefront without the storefront.
Sure.
And it just never took off. And so, quick story was we had some friends in town, and we went down to the Craft Pride. And we had such great service there. They were explaining every beer. I'm not a big beer guy, and they were explaining all the beers to me. And it's like, man, this is a great place. And they had no food. Bacon had just went out of business or pulled the trailer out of there.
Remember Bacon? You were here. That
Yeah.
time?
Or
Okay,
40
so-
North is there now.
Yeah.
Correct. They used to have a trailer behind Craft Pride.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I asked Trey if we could put our trailer back there. He's like, man, I love you. It's my favorite pizza. Owners, they're probably not going to want pizza back there. I don't know why. I don't remember why, but
I could guess.
we're not cool.
Yeah.
But we would bring them the staff pizzas all the time, trying to get them excited to tell the owners, like, man, this is the best pizza.
Sure.
Owners didn't give a shit. And I remember one night, me and him both brought pizzas up, and they just happened to be up there, the owners of Craft Pride. And I was wearing like a Neurosis shirt, and he was wearing
Something.
Maybe another
some metal or punk shirt. Or
yeah.
something,
And the owners were like, holy shit, you guys listen to that kind of music? Man, that's so cool. And that's how we ended up getting we got out of our lease
nice.
early at Craft Pride. They were,
Sure.
All right, Red Shed, and they were
sorry.
understanding, and they were very understanding too.
Yeah.
Great people.
So we pulled out maybe about 4 months early on our lease there, moved it to Rainy Street at Craft Pride. And that's just been just crazy for us over there. Rainy Street's Rainy Street.
It's a real good marriage.
Yeah. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Right.
So then-
it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
That was
Always will.
a little bit 2013 now. And then we opened Oak Hill April.
Well, you know what's interesting? Right around there, I should just say, right around then, I had come to the realization, we're both running ourselves pretty ragged. I mean, you always hear about.
You had quit.
No, I was still had a day job, so I was working like 80.
I paid myself a little bit more money. I think I was making $500 a week.
I was working probably 75, 80 hours a week between. And don't get me wrong, I'm not closing the trailer down every night, but I'm there a lot, and he's always there trying to manage too. It's like when you talk to small business owners, right, that are just getting off, they talk about how many hours they work and how long. And sometimes people do this for 10, 20, 30 years to stay afloat. We did it for a while.
3 years.
Right. But things multiplied and snowballed so fast for us that we were able to start hiring people.
And I want to be clear, like my schedule would be, get to the trailer at like 4, work till, by the time we close the trailer, this is Friday, Saturday, not every night.
2 a.m., 3 a.m.
By 2 a.m., clean the trailer, maybe you're out by 2:33, and then...
And you're still riding the high from the shift, so you need to go eat.
Well, yeah, you got to eat dinner, because
right.
you need... and
It's
then
wired, right?
Yeah, and then we were doing paper tickets, so I'd have to go home and add up paper tickets, make sure the cash was good, and then we were keeping really strict data on how many pizzas we sold, how many drinks we sold, how many customers came through.
All in a spreadsheet, too.
How much average ticket was. We were keeping very strict, tight numbers.
Smart.
So it was almost 5 a.m. by the time I
trends.
went to bed. Yeah, we could see trends on if we were going up or down or what night was going to be busy. So it's 5 a.m. I go to bed, sleep for 5 or 6 hours, and then be back up by like noon, basically, eat breakfast or lunch, go shopping for the day because we weren't quite busy enough to get a food trailer or a food truck on all the ingredients.
So just grinding.
It's
Every
grinding
day.
like it's that small
6
business
days
grind.
a week.
And I remember we had a conversation, and we were totally willing, I think, to continue this pace for as long as we needed to. But we also recognize that this is not sustainable. Like at some point, something's got to give here.
Sure.
It's too much.
Otherwise, you burn out.
yeah.
Well, and I started acting like I was punching holes in the walls or throwing chairs out of the trailer.
The
That's not
fun
how
of it, started to kind of lose its zest.
Yeah,
Right.
and we both
I mean,
felt that.
Yeah. I mean, you can get, doesn't matter if there's a dreary sky, you can get grumpy working like that.
Yeah.
and we wanted perfection, or I did it.
Oh, for
not saying
sure,
that you
no.
didn't, but I would like destroy a person to the point where they probably don't want to work for us anymore.
Okay.
In the pursuit of perfection,
Sure,
it's like
sure.
we don't need to be perfect; we need to be good. Now we're trying to strive for perfection again, but
Sure.
you need to relax. There's
Yeah.
a better way of going about it than just destroying everybody all night.
Yeah, definitely.
But I around that same time, I was really fortunate because I had been at this startup company, been there 11 or 12 years at this point, and they kept downsizing my department. People around me are losing jobs, right? And I wasn't the most passionate person about the industry I was in. I was good at it, wasn't super passionate about it at that point. And I also saw what we were creating with Via. So I was always in the back of my mind going, how can I make a pivot away from my RFID career into pizza?
And this is brick and mortar, right?
Well, yeah, but yes,
Yeah.
but neither one of us, I don't think, felt that we could make that leap unless I had moved on from my day job and was fully committed to it. So right around this time, I remember,
Which is a leap of faith, right?
very much
Families
so.
involved.
Especially when I've got a house payment and kids and that sort of thing. So
Does that mean we're an out?
yeah,
This means
so
this means you probably won't be on YouTube.
so.
Good.
I'm another thing, talking about knowing the right people and being very fortunate. I had been through I had some bad bosses in the past. At that point in my career, I had a really great boss who was a good friend of mine as well, and he happened to be my boss. And I remember calling him just going, man, really talented, passionate people about RFID are losing their jobs around me.
Yeah.
I'm still here. Yeah, it's like, when is my number going to come up? Like, it's just a matter of time, right? And he was like, yeah, they're going to do another round of firings. It's coming. And he's like, you might want to think about taking a buyout. And I said, well, if you're, it's my buddy John Kavanaugh. So like, if John's like, you might consider it. And I was like, well, I'm open, because then the light went off. Like, well, if I could take a buyout, then I can pivot over to, we can open up Oak Hill.
Exactly right.
I can dedicate myself fully to Via 313
And you
appointment,
guys
which is
had
really
your
what I
eyes
wanted.
on that spot there?
Not at that point.
Okay.
No,
But-
that came a little bit later.
but
But
brick and mortar
so
job.
that's
Yeah,
what
we
happened.
probably
I
need to move this story
I took a
along.
buyout. I took a buyout, and then we started really focusing on trying to find real estate for the first brick and mortar. And I should say too, now I'm talking. I can just imagine somebody listening to this going, "Man, these guys talk way too much about
Yeah.
money." I can hear it.
Well,
But I think it's
business
important.
owners.
I think it's important people understand the financial piece of this.
100%.
But he was taking a very paltry salary or weekly allowance even out of the trailers. And we were doing really well. The sales were really getting good. And we were just socking money away with the idea that we would take that money and open up a restaurant with it. And that's what we did.
Yeah, we put $100,000.
Yeah, we saved $100K out of the trailers.
$100,000 out of the trailers, so we weren't paying ourselves very much combined. And
No.
then we went and raised money. People were pretty excited to get involved. We figured out we needed $260,000 to get Oak Hill, and Oak Hill came because your mom's burger was down there and just closed. And he was like, man, I think this is a good spot. It's not huge, not a ton of square footage to bite off, and Oak Hill's severely underserved. I mean, Jack Allen's at the time was probably it out there as far as places to eat. I mean,
it's starting to fill in more, but you it's like you guys in Jack Allen's.
yeah, this was like 2013, right?
Maybe later.
14.
14?
Yeah,
Like that.
14 because our 5-year just
Something like
came
that.
up.
Yeah.
So 2014, your mom, we go to look at the real estate. It just gotten taken, and the broker down there was like, well, this just got signed. You guys are second in line. But Flores, which is where we are now, just did not renew their lease because they're building their own thing down the street. And we're like, actually, we kind of like this place a little bit better. It's laid out perfect for us. And it's second-gen spot, so we don't have
And
quite
they'd
as
been
much.
there, and they'd been there 20 plus years, which made us feel like, well, hey, if a Mexican place in Oak Hill can last 20 years,
Right.
we can do this.
We should be fine.
Yeah, we should be fine.
Because
I mean,
our prices were a little bit higher than theirs, and we're riding a hot roll right now because everybody's starting to know who we are. So it was a huge pivot, I think, because people thought of us as drunk pizza or the bar pizza.
Oh, really?
place.
Because just a trailer?
Yeah,
or
we were
what?
at bars.
Just associate. Okay.
Yeah, and we were only open 5 till 2 a.m.
It is good drunk pizza, but it's good pizza anytime.
So I think it caught people by surprise to go to Oak Hill so far away and not serve.
different kind of clientele.
Yeah. So we built that place for $256,000, and again, not to make it about money, but we wouldn't raised or 356.
Yep.
We put 100 in, and we raised 256. And those investors were all just immediate friends and family.
Okay.
giving us, $10,000, $5,000.
Yeah,
that type
we
of thing.
chipped away at it and got it done.
And how it must have repaid itself, because
Oh, boy.
there is not a night I go to Oak Hill that it is not just jamming.
If you gave us $10,000 in 2014, you've been paid $10,000 a year
Oh, wow.
repeatedly since
Cool.
then. So
Cool.
yes, it was a great investment for
Now, how
them
long did
and
it
us.
take to catch on there? If
Oh
Oak
no!
Hill-
It was hot from the day it blew us away because
Awesome.
we were not expecting. We weren't. We thought we would just be all right.
yeah.
I mean, we again.
Well,
trying-
Travis, our partner at Nickel City, always
Yeah.
has this line that he says that there's nothing scarier than throwing a party and thinking nobody's going to show up.
Sure.
And that's where we were. We were throwing the greatest party of our life, and we were worried nobody's going to show up.
And yeah, we didn't know what to expect. I mean, you prepare for being busy, but in the back of our minds, the self doubt creeps back in, and you're like, maybe nobody will show up.
But
Right.
that first night, we didn't even have all of our tables done. We just had to get open again because we're running out of money. We were pretty much sweeping out the back doors. Customers were coming in the front door.
Yeah.
And we didn't have tables where the booths are now.
Oh, you're
on
talking about
left
the
side.
soft openings.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was a mess.
So we just treated it as a waiting room, acting like that's what we had planned on doing. And but for the first, I mean, it's always been great. from day one.
The first day we were open, we were only open evenings. There was no lunch at this. We didn't have the staff for lunch and dinner yet.
Sure, yeah.
There was a line that started at our door. We opened at 5 p.m. There was a line that started at our door that wrapped around inside the center, past like O'Reilly's, like through there.
almost to the bar.
And I remember
down there.
us standing in the
Yeah.
standing in there going, "Holy shit,
We're not ready for
that we are
this.
not ready for this because we're going to get hit in one wave." I'm not ready for it.
We don't know
maybe he
what
is.
we're
I don't
doing. No,
The
I don't know what to
kitchen's not-
do.
The kitchen's not ready. Like
Right,
we're
right.
going to get hit hard.
And I'm sure you did.
We got bombed
Every
and-
night.
and it was like that until we
had
opened
to-
up for lunch. It was like that.
We had to close. Remember, we had to close like the second night or third night.
Out of product?
No, just to like figure out like the kitchen's not laid
Oh,
out
wasn't
correctly.
it's not efficient. The kitchen wasn't.
Nothing
efficient.
was right.
Okay.
So we had to close to gather everything up and figure out how to do this more efficiently.
And these are vets from the trailer you brought on?
Some of them.
Some of them, yeah.
And it's really challenging too. You have to understand, like, there's a lot of places that serve pizza. Obviously, thousands and thousands of places. There's not a lot of places that have full service that are doing a lot of volume. I could
It's
name.
home slice.
Well, here in Austin, it's Home Slice.
But you can't name a lot nationally.
But nationally,
Sure.
there's not even a lot. So we're like, well, who can? Because we're trying to. We don't know everything, right? I mean, we never know everything. So like, who can we call to help us take a look at this and think about how we could be more efficient? Because we need to turn tables faster. People are waiting way too long.
Who'd you call?
We brought in Phil Korshak from Home Slice, who was the kitchen manager over there. Great person on every level.
And I love the camaraderie. Even it's Home Slice, which should be your competition, right?
Yeah,
And
it's never-
quotes.
never been
They've
that.
Not at
always
all.
been
Right.
so. Even
Yeah.
to this day, they're still
Yeah.
helpful.
And
for
just
us.
like you guys with Toss, when he said that, I just loved it. So
Yeah.
So yeah, Phil came in and he's like, "Well, if you need to do this, you need to have this ready." And so he helped. Wasn't
Remember
he gave us some pieces of the puzzle, and then we talked to
Pete LaChapelle at Pizza Today, and he referred us to JB Alberto's.
JD Alberto, and then we talked to
Because
Tony
that's
Gimignani.
a lot of people say that JB Alberto's in Chicago is the busiest pizza place in the U.S.
okay,
But that's on a whole nother level. They were like, this
It's
is
like
not where
assembly
we
line.
need to be.
It's a highly impressive operation.
Yeah, and they're
Chicago's a different city.
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Oh.
So it's like we're trying to take, all this advice. Plus, we have our own ideas about what we could do better, and we're literally doing this on the fly. Within a matter of 5 or 6 days, the kitchen is completely different at this point.
Right.
We're handling the dough differently. I mean, we made a
there was
lot of
little
changes.
and then we had opened with Aloha, which was like a $25,000 system.
POS.
System. And we're like, we're still not efficient enough. And I remember going to eat at, I can't remember. the
Oh,
restaurant.
is it Ramatetsuya?
No, the
Oh,
Michi Ramen. I'm
Michi.
sorry. Jeez.
Oh yeah, on Lamar. Or,
Yeah, burn it. Yeah. Or
Is it
Lamar.
on Lamar or burn it? I don't know.
Where's
It
the
might-
Yellow Rose at?
It's on Lamar.
It's across the street
That's
from
the
Yellow
reference
Rose.
point.
Yeah. So you got to
kitty corner.
You got to give me reference points.
is that near? Is that near the Palazzo? I don't know.
6 miles.
That's the next location.
But but anyways, at Michi Ramen, ordered edamame, and the edamame had came to the table before we had ordered our ramen
Oh, and they're like that. They
because
serve
they had
quick,
Revel
right? Yeah.
at the table. So we did some research, or I should say, Ellie, our manager, did some research. She did all the work and came up with Revels at the time. I don't remember, like they didn't sync with QuickBooks or something
Yeah.
at the time. So Revel wasn't the right solution for us, but it ended up being Toast, who was a new POS system at the time. And what it did was allow us to cash out people, take orders at the table, fire it to the kitchen. So if you start asking questions, we're already making the pizza instead
Yeah.
of going back to the POS system at the
How
bar.
long did that take? Because the system now is legit.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
Our kitchen. If you went in our kitchen now, it looks like a fast food operation in terms of we got touch screens, the whole thing.
And
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody, I mean, you guys probably, maybe not, don't even know this, but if I order a pizza right now, and if it's 5:41, it will be ready at 6:41. It's always an hour to the minute.
Well, yeah, we can.
If I go to pick it up.
well, online's
Well-
different because online is controlled by Maven.
Yeah,
But
local,
that's
local.
that's a tip for anybody.
Yeah.
Because they're always like, well, how long will it take? It's always going to take an hour.
Yeah,
from
so
the
we have
minute you
Well,
order.
like a twiddler, I think is what they
Yeah,
call
they
it.
call it twiddler.
And we can change that. So if it's super slow, we can turn it down to 20
Oh,
minutes.
okay.
But if hour's the default.
Oh, I've
because of-
always been at an hour, so that
Yeah.
must be my witching hour.
Yeah.
Whenever I want the pizza, it's an hour.
Yeah. so
But if
that-
it's longer when I'm there, there's
it can go up to
jellyfish
2
on tap
hours.
or
Right,
whatever.
right. So it can go up to 2 hours if we're super, super busy.
Okay.
But it allows us to adapt in the moment.
But for what I see and anybody going there, I mean, you guys, Friday, Saturdays, every night, really. It seems like every night. But it gets slaughtered, and you guys are
Yes.
just cranking
Yeah.
it out.
So then 2016, we opened campus. 2018, we opened the east side. And then we had to move the trailer
You guys
from...
got good neighbors. The east side's great. Got to be a great spot.
Well, we knew our time was kind of numbered over there because developers are buying up everything. And
Okay.
we're
So
paying,
that's what prompted the let's do this.
kind of, yeah. And the trailer
You
had
guys
run
are
its course.
Suertes down the street. It's just
Oh, we
Oh,
just looked
yeah.
at space over it. Suerte wasn't even. They didn't have their lease yet.
Well, he bought. He
Oh, he
the
bought it. That's right.
Yeah,
he bought
yeah.
that.
Sam
That's right.
bought
That's
it,
right.
but
But I think that came right after.
we didn't know
Very
what was going to
fortunate.
be there yet.
Yeah.
We just.
We took a chance there.
I don't want to get into that story about
Yeah.
why this ended up.
Well, the thing was we knew for two reasons. Like Brandon said, the real estate around us is just getting swallowed up by developers.
yeah.
So then you just be like, man, when's the Violent Crown going to get? When's that property going to get sold and something developed there?
Sure.
It's just a
It's
matter,
a matter
of time.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
So
you guys-
we felt antsy. Like, well, we need to think before thinking about this. And then when we got had the opportunity to go into the East Sixth restaurant that we've got, it just made sense to move the trailer away from it.
Yeah.
So that's what we did.
So do you guys consider that like the flagship, or is it Oak Hill, or is there one, or
Nah.
they're just
Oak Hill's always been our baby. It's always been great to us. Campus, we treat as like our catering kitchen.
Okay.
Campus can go to war anytime. I can kick out 600 pizzas in a night if it needs,
Sure.
like a catering on top of a normal operation.
Crazy.
So they can go to war any
So they got a
night.
bigger kitchen there.
Oh, it's enormous.
Oh, another thing too, talking about the brotherly love and the pizza scene here. That building that we're in there in North Campus, that's an old Manja spot.
Oh, okay.
And before we took that lease and went in and started doing work on that, we met with the owner or founder of Manja.
Okay.
And obviously, things had went south for him at that location and for his business. And he just was fine. Be like, yeah, sit down with the VIA 313 guys and hear their story.
Yeah.
And it's just a pizza discussion, and we start to learn about the ins and outs about that location, thanks to the Manja owner.
Yeah,
That's
Jeff.
awesome.
And this type of shit doesn't happen everywhere. This wouldn't happen in Detroit. This is a
Right.
very Austin
Right.
thing.
Austin thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you guys are out and about. You guys are all over the place, right? You guys are helping people left and
Oh,
right.
anybody that needs help anytime, yeah.
Yeah.
Unless we don't like you.
Oh yeah, but do you get much of that? I mean, and you said Travis Nichols. So I was under the impression you guys. So Uncle Nicky's is a new partnership with you guys, right? But also Nickel City.
So Nickel City was. I don't want to get into way too much,
No, you don't have to. Yeah,
But-
go for it, please.
but every guy's dream is to own a bar, and we had been kind of stagnant. He had gotten sick, and things had been put on hold as far as building VIA 313. I was starting to get a little antsy, so I wanted to buy a bar, and we looked at a couple different properties, and
You this is like your baby, right? You like bars.
it was.
Yeah.
Now I would say it's Travis's baby.
Okay.
I don't know a lot about bars. I worked in them, but I did not pay a lot of attention. I was too busy having fun. I'm not a bartender. Travis is the mad scientist behind it. Pretty much everything in there. He wanted it to be a Buffalo bar. He wanted it so. Craig, who owns Javelina, who was our broker at the time and still today, was able to close the deal. We knew we could get it, but we were dealing with the owner of the Long Branch. He was a little hard to deal with. He ended up getting evicted, so Craig was the end to get to the new landlord since he got evicted.
Okay.
I don't know if that makes sense, but so Craig was able to close that, and then Craig brought Travis in on the deal, and Travis was at the time was a national brand ambassador of gin, aviation gin. But he knew everybody in town, and I think he was just coming off of
A Vox Table. over
Vox
there, too.
Table, which won a bunch of awards.
Yeah.
It was
Cool
a great,
spot.
yeah, it was a great bar program, but just bad location it seemed.
That's a glitch for everybody who goes
Yeah.
over there.
Yeah.
TLC's there now, and we had they had a pizza place there. Right?
Yeah, it already went out of business.
That was very shortly.
I don't know what
Yeah.
the VIA would look like there. Seriously.
I feel like we could pull it
I think
off.
we could do it.
Do you know what? You probably could, and it would probably be a cool thing.
We've always wanted to be on Lamar. That was always the
Yeah.
goal. But so yeah, he brought Travis in. We met him over at the steak place there. What's it called?
On the east side.
Hofbrau.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
We
that's
met-
on 6th Street.
We went and
Old
met him
school.
at Hofbrau, and
Yeah.
we just hit it off. He's like a
Hofbrau's a cool spot.
part of the family almost. I mean, very similar to the way he grew up. Single mom, had a rough life, never had much, and we just hit it off.
He's a hustler, and he knows people. I mean, he's got a strong work ethic. I mean,
We were so worried about it being our baby, and he was singing all the right things that we wanted to do.
Cool.
It needs to be a neighborhood bar. It needs to be for everybody. Needs to be, cheap Coors on, but still great cocktails. Need to get a handshake when you walk in the door. Just it needs to feel like everybody's welcome there. And we were like, this is the guy. And I wanted to do like more food from Detroit, like coney dogs and sliders and
And that's what's over there now.
yeah, they're Detroit sliders, not sliders. A little bit like an old school McDonald's hamburger. And
Did they change the burgers? Because there used to be a number 2. with 2 cheeseburgers. Is that the old school?
Yeah, kind of like it's that size. It's it's a little. It's like 3 inches.
Okay.
The burger is, and I don't. That bar just blew up too. I mean, from day one, that bar's been busy, and it just keeps getting busier.
That's great.
But
That's great.
it's morphed more into Travis's thing. It's his baby. We stay out of his way.
Yeah. I mean, we've been talking for a minute here. We'll wrap it up soon. But do you guys attribute your success to like luck at all, or what do you think it is?
I mean, I don't want to lean on that too much, but it definitely plays a factor in right place, right time a lot.
Yeah.
But if it keeps happening over and over again, it's probably not luck.
No,
That's
you
what
guys
somebody
have
would
a
say.
wonderful thing going on. It's
Yeah.
and setting up on Lamar, even though that is like a cursed area.
Seems
You
like
could
it.
probably be. I mean, set something up well, especially if you were on the street, right? Not like tucked away.
I don't-
where the theater
Maybe
is.
my
is-
ego's
what
going
is
to best
luck?
me here, but I don't think it even matter there.
Preparedness meets opportunity is what luck is, or
I
something.
think
Yeah, we've
the
always
big
been
thing
prepared.
there is the parking. I don't think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because when I don't go to Shake Shack as much because I got to park
The parking
man.
in
Over there and then
or
walk
there's
back.
a garage which is not
Yeah.
for
It's tough.
residents.
It's tough.
but-
so there's consider that though.
So I don't know what people say when you ask them that usually on this side of the table, but I mean, you'd be foolish to
No,
not recognize that it plays a role.
Yeah.
But it's
no,
not
I
everything.
usually don't ask because people haven't experienced such success as you. I mean, this is in a short time. This has taken off, and it's an amazing spot. It's going to be an awesome staple for years. I mean,
What, Nickel City? Or all of it?
everything, but
Yeah.
via 313.
Yeah.
I want to be clear too. Uncle Nicky's is Nick from Junipers,
Juniper.
who I don't know if you should have him on. He's fun to talk to.
I stopped in there, and I get out.
Yeah.
You know, I was the fly ride. I was telling you, I tried the fly ride because I was there. I go over there occasionally, but I stopped into Uncle Nicky's too. Yeah, but so that's
It's
more or
his-
less his thing.
Yeah, it's his baby, and he let us brought us in on it.
I had a sandwich there too. It was pretty damn good.
Yeah,
it's
he knocked
fantastic.
it out of the park.
Right next to Antonelli's.
Yeah, he's done a good job there.
I think the thing is excuse me, after we had some early success and we started to meet people, and we still meet more people, but it's like we want, and I know this really drives him too, and I love this about him, is that he wants to bring people up with him that he knows, that are good folks, that are passionate about certain, market, whether it's cocktails and bars like Travis, or Nick is a very talented chef, has got his own thing. It's great to partner with people that are passionate about things, that they see things the way you see it,
But they might not have the means to get there.
and they have maybe a different area of expertise. Like Brandon and I couldn't have opened a bar and had the success on our own
Yeah.
that Nickel City
for
had
sure.
without Travis and Craig. It
Like
would
a
never
good
happen.
marriage, Yeah.
And it's the same thing. Like I love that we own these things. Sorry that I mean, like I don't even drink, dude.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
Oh yeah.
No, I don't even drink. So the fact that I own a bar that with one of the top, if not the top bar guy in the country in Travis, it's crazy to me.
Yeah.
It's crazy. That's why you stay out of their way, stay out of Travis's way,
Yeah.
and let him do his thing because he knows what he's doing.
We had a landscaping guy over
Which
at
is
the
smart. Sorry.
east side.
Well, yeah, some people can't do that.
I know.
Well, I said we had a landscaping guy at the east side, and he goes, "Hey, you're one of the owners, aren't you?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "What do you do?" And I said, "What do you mean?
What do you
And
do?
then I own it." And he's like, "Yeah, but what do you do all day?" I'm like, "I stay the fuck out of the way."
That's a smart move. Yeah, right.
I mean, I said this the other day, and hopefully this doesn't sound too egotistical when I say this, but I hope not. But I just set it up for failure by saying that. I think that one of the biggest markers of success in whatever line of work or whatever vertical you're in is having the ability and willingness to admit you don't know everything. That's really it. And then hiring your weakness over and over and over and over again and never stopping.
Yeah.
We're not capable of everything. We're capable of a few things.
No, it's your guys' attitudes is that plays a huge factor in it, and that's being humble. And maybe it's humble beginnings. Maybe that's just the way you are as a human. You know what I mean? But you're staying out of the way, letting people do the proper job, and not just being the Mr. Know-it-all, right?
Yeah.
Because you're not going to get anywhere.
And you can't,
like that.
and you can't grow like that either.
No.
It's both as a person and also as a business. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah, and that's I really I love that you guys go and meet and help people when they need it, and you guys are out there hands on kind of thing. And like you said, you're still meeting people. So I'm assuming with your situation, you guys kind of really accept the growth of Austin. Is there anything that when you see this city growing the way it is, especially within the last 2 or 3 years, any complaints about that or?
It's just a matter of what you focus on.
It's a double-edged sword, right?
Yeah.
We benefit directly from it.
Yes, no,
So that
for
part
sure.
of it's great.
Yeah.
But does it make living here easier? No, it makes it more difficult. We need more affordable housing. We need more.
do.
We need more roads. We need mass transit. I mean, those are the things. The city's bursting at the seams, and we need.
How is the transportation in Michigan?
Well, we remember the thing about the Detroit area, for instance, is that at its peak there was almost 2 million people that lived in the city.
Right.
Now, it's like 600,000.
right?
You know.
Wow. Yeah.
But the roads and the infrastructure, because of the car industry,
It's almost like you guys have polar opposites.
it's the opposite here, right?
Wow.
We've got
it's built like Houston, but there's not as
Correct.
many people.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. So the roads are
crazy.
awesome.
There was
in
a
Michigan.
video on YouTube of somebody snowmobiling down the freeway because it's just so open.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I feel like we need.
But
We
bad.
could really benefit from like L's subways. I mean,
Yeah.
because you can't have subways here.
No,
We
probably
don't even
not
have
because
a
of the
basements,
limestone. Right.
it's just we're very fortunate to live in a city that seems to be growing super fast and be an incubator of great things.
Mm-hmm.
It's very cool.
But it also loses some of its specialness as that happens. Like again, here when you'd see somebody that was like a millionaire, you couldn't tell the millionaires from the homeless people when I came here in 2010. And now it's like, it's out there now. Like it's very clear who has money and who doesn't.
Yeah, it's not a dusty, sleepy.
And I used to
place.
love that about the city.
Yeah.
It's like
Sure.
you couldn't tell who was who in this,
Yeah, I 100% agree with that.
And then it's,
It's very California-like suddenly.
Dallas or California or something.
it's like it lost its edge when Leslie died. It lost its specialness.
Sure.
But it's still, the only thing I miss about home, the most, I guess, is just being able to sit at a bar and literally fight with someone about sports. Like, you just don't get that here.
Yeah.
Like, you ruin
don't,
somebody's
right?
day if you say the wrong thing.
Well, I think that's because back home, you guys get like huddled up and you can't go outside. You're like in a bar.
We live and die by
I
what
was
the
gonna say.
Tigers do.
I was going to say that's a Midwest or Northeast thing.
I miss
more
that the
more than
most.
it anything.
For sure.
I mean, you go to Miami, people aren't going to fight you about things. You go to Phoenix, people aren't going to fight about that. This is a southern.
Yeah,
Austin has it particularly bad because we don't have professional sports teams.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
I love
I don't
arguing
even know if
about
people would fight
sports.
with you about University of Texas
No.
football. People are too laid back,
Yeah, it's
which
right.
is fine.
Well, I love that. That's another reason why I love it here is everybody's so chill.
No, it's I don't know how much you guys go back to
Oh,
Detroit,
All the
very
time.
often, yeah.
Yeah.
but you go back and
We're
it's
actually
like-
buying a Detroit. Can I say that? Is that off the record?
I don't know. It's not off the record.
Oh,
It's
we're
not a
buying-
done deal.
We're trying to buy a restaurant back home, but I guess we shouldn't talk
Oh,
about
okay,
it.
but it's not going to be via 313.
No.
And everybody knows 313 is the area code. I mean, I don't know if everybody knows that. And then via why
By
Just-
way of
By way of.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Anything you guys want to add on here? Any bits of? I mean, you guys have given plenty of advice.
no, I feel like
I
you're-
didn't think we'd have an hour we could talk for an hour.
I know we talked a lot
Talked
because
for 2
you're
hours.
I listen to
Yeah.
your podcast quite a bit now since you've asked us to be on, and
Well, thank you. Keep
yeah.
listening.
Yeah,
Oh,
well, I love
definitely.
hearing everybody's story, and I feel like your conversations are a conversation. I feel like we just talked your ear off for 2 hours.
No, I'm interested, genuinely. I said, I feel weird saying it because, I mean, I told you, I convinced my daughter, I'm like, let's do pizza. She said, no, I want waffles. It's like, no.
Well,
it's-
waffles are
it's-
pretty fucking good.
She's waffles and like food coloring. That's why she wants waffles. 'Cause she
That's
likes-
kind of cool.
Yeah, so she's creative like that. But I talk her into it, and like 3 jellyfishes later, I'm on my way home happy. So, but that's my thing. So, no, you didn't talk my ear off, and I'm sure people want to hear. So,
Thanks for letting us tell
Yeah.
our story.
100%. You guys are welcome back anytime. If you guys know anybody who wants to come back, bring them on in.
Yeah, I'm sure Nick would love to come on. I mean, who doesn't love talking about themselves?
Or what's that? I've heard it feels weird, but
I'm pretty good at it.
But thank you guys,
No,
Thank
hey,
you.
Thank you for having us.
Brandon, Zane. Thank you.